This is the future.
Hello everyone and welcome to another Warframe video. So I just want to remind you again of the changes happening in my Warframe channel, and if you are here just for the Warframe content, feel free to skip ahead. From now on, I'll be using this voice in all of my videos. This bro voice allows me to convey the message well in all of my videos, but there might be small errors, but that's on me making the script. So I hope that you will be patient with me. Also, I received a lot of positive feedbacks on my updated build videos for each Warframe, so might as well create another one while the iron is hot. I will be compiling all of these videos in one playlist, and you can check out that playlist in the video description below. I will also add it in the pinned comment, but it would be the other day since most of my videos right now are scheduled during or past midnight. I only get to see my videos in YouTube the next day, so forgive me also if I am late to reply in your comments. Lastly, I would like to thank all my new Patreons. The money you are supporting me doesn't just keep the lights on, but it helps to improve the quality of all the videos in the channel. By the way, I just updated the Patreon video shout out at the end of this guide. If you wish to support the channel, then I have included the link to my Patreon page at the video description below. Again, thank you all for your support. Now that we are done with all the channel updates, let us get started with the video. The Warframe we will be discussing today is Mesa. For new players, I know that the first Warframe you will love is Excalibur because it's obvious that you want to try the poster boy of the game that parkours like a ninja while wielding a badass glowing sword. And the name is quite catchy too. It is named after the great sword Excalibur wielded by King Arthur, so who wouldn't love to play such a Warframe? However, once you dive deep into the game, you will learn that Warframe is being dominated by either a character with huge asset or Mesa that makes the game simple. All you need to do is point and click and enemies will melt in seconds. The Warframe is a literal aimbot, and we know aimbot are banned in shooter games, but in Warframe, it's glorified in the identity of Mesa. So, how much experience do I have playing Mesa that makes me credible to do this guide? Well, I have over 4,000 hours playing the game, which is not a bragging right, by the way, but an indication that I need to touch some grass once in a while because I'm too addicted playing Warframe. In all my years playing the game, I have mained a lot of Warframe like Nidus, Rhino Mag, Valkyr, and right now, sitting in the top is the aimbot girl Mesa. When you play Mesa, you will get to that point where there's no turning back. The Warframe is very versatile in missions. We all know Warframe missions are all about killing, defending, with a bit of parkour and stealth mechanics sometimes. That's how I can honestly sum up the missions in Warframe, and Mesa can both defend and kill. In a looter shooter game, we all know that the best defense is kill speed. When you see everything is lying on the ground lifeless, then consider your build as great in defending. That's how Mesa is built, and she can do extermination mission fast. She can do defense mission easily, and with the bounty system, which has the same kill and defend mechanic, Mesa becomes more relevant and one of the best Warframes in doing the bounty missions fast and easy. Also, she got both survivability and kill speed. Her Shatter Shield ability allows Mesa to envelop herself in an energy shield for a set duration, which reduces incoming damage from enemy gunfire by 80% and can achieve 95% damage reduction with the right amount of power strength. The shield also reflects hitscan bullets back to the attacker over unrestricted range, but deflects non-hitscan projectiles randomly up to 45 degrees from the point of impact. Affected gunfire will instead divert towards a random enemy, if any, within an A-set radius and up to 90 degrees from the point of impact. In addition, projectile-based knockdown effects are also resisted by this ability. Effects such as the grappling hooks from scorpions and infested ancients will not affect Mesa while Shatter Shield is active. However, knockdown caused by radio blasts from units such as heavy gunners will bypass Shatter Shield. It also got an augment called Shattering Shield that gives shots reflected by Shatter Shield a chance to stagger enemies. Stagger chance is affected by ability strength to a cap at 100% at 200% ability strength. However, while the stagger could provide another layer of survivability in paper, I find it unreliable in real missions because it only stagger a few enemies and not something that can affect all enemies within the radius of Mesa. The only problem with Shatter Shield though is that it does not protect Mesa from area damage or melee attacks. Thus damage will be dealt as normal, but there's a way to fix that with the help of her Shooting Gallery ability. Shooting Gallery acts like a lasso which will emit a beam of energy that will jam the target's weapon within radius. When it comes to melee fighters, they will get stunned when they are in range of Mesa's Shooting Gallery. Even with narrow-minded in your build that has negative range effect, Shooting Gallery still proves to be useful as it will stun melee attackers that are close to Mesa. Aside from that, the ability also grants bonus weapon damage that also affects her Peacemaker ability. Speaking of the Peacemaker ability, this is what makes Mesa as the meta aimbot Warframe. These pistols has a very high critical chance and critical multiplier. Also got a very high fire rate and innate damage bonus that stacks with damage mods. It also has an infinite ammunition with no reloading. Its damage and fire rate ramp up per shots fired, and the best part is there's no need for aiming, as all you need to do is just point and click to kill enemies. The only disadvantage though is that you can't move while using this ability, which makes you vulnerable to enemy attacks. And also take note that the pistols can only hit enemies that are within 50 meters of Mesa's range, so don't go wasting your energy preparing to gun out enemies that are beyond that range. It also requires energy to cast and maintain, and you can't use some mods to boost its damage potential, such as the galvanized crosshair or the hydraulic crosshair that increases your critical chance. But there are ways to counter all these negatives. First of all, the movement restriction can be countered with a Warframe augment called Mesa's Waltz. With Mesa's Waltz, you can move with 50% speed while using Mesa's Peacemaker. However, you can't perform parkour moves, and the only move you can do is walk and perform a roll. But that is a great quality of life improvement for Mesa, to be honest, and I highly suggest using Mesa's Waltz, as it makes the whole experience playing this Warframe more fun. Another thing that I would like to point out is the proper way on modding the regulator pistols. There are several things that you might not know yet about the regulator pistols. First is that it scales better with fire rate. The faster you fire, the faster you can ramp up the damage until you reach the maximum. That is why fire rate bonus from arcane velocity is a much needed buff for Mesa. You can also put fire rate mods in Mesa, but I would not advise to put all the possible fire rate mods, as modding regulator pistol requires a balance of fire rate, critical chance, and damage. There's also a good source of fire rate in the form of melee weapon. The Amalgam 4-axe body count will give your regulator pistol a 45% fire rate bonus. While Mesa's passive grants bonus health when not equipping a melee weapon, the buff is useless compared to having a boost in fire rate for your regular pistols. In addition, galvanized status mode is busted with Mesa and can drastically increase your killing power with Mesa's regulator pistol. With the high fire rate of Mesa, you can proc multiple status quick with her gun, allowing you to get the damage buff from the galvanized status mod. Also, status procs are easy to get right now with the companion rework. I am using the Diriga with build intended as a status primer for Mesa's regulator pistol, and my god, the damage is unbelievable. With all the status that Diriga can proc to enemies, the galvanized shot just works wonder with Mesa's regulator pistol. Then, it becomes overpowered when you subsume the Sata's Whisper ability into Mesa. The ability doesn't just provide void damage and huge counter for sentient enemies, but it has this special mechanic wherein it can inflict one extra hit per damage instance. This pairs well with the high fire rate with galvanized shot setup in our Mesa, and so far I can honestly say that Sata's Whisper Mesa is an absolute beast when it comes to kill speed. To get more benefit from Sata's Whisper, I could have added a faction mode in this regulator pistol build, as faction mods get applied to the Sata's Whisper second damage instance again, which means my build will likely have more effective damage buff. However, the only mod that is stopping me from doing it is the Scorch mod that procs heat. I don't just have this mod for its damage to armored enemies or the additional status for galvanized shot. The main reason I have this is to somehow get 480% damage boost from Cascadia Flare, which I equipped on my secondary weapon. For those who don't know, you can have the bonus damage of the Cascadia Flare on Mesa's regulator pistol while you have the arcane in your secondary weapon slot. Also, the Amalgam Barrel Diffusion also helps to increase the dodge speed of your Mesa's Waltz. When you have this equipped in your secondary, you will have increased roll speed in your Mesa's Waltz. Now, let's talk about red crit builds for Peacemaker. I completely understand the power fantasy of having red crit Peacemaker build with your Mesa, but I would not recommend it as it requires a lot of things and it's unreliable. You would need to have 5 red Tau Forged Archon shards and infuse it to Mesa to get more critical chance on her regulator pistol. Then you need the flat 45% additive critical chance of Arcane Avenger to further increase the critical chance. Lastly, you would want to get Adderzalkovit's Cat's Eye buff to gain another additive critical chance bonus, completing the red crit setup. But like I have said, it's unreliable, as you would need to rely on Adderzalkovit's buff to gain the red crit all the time. Arcane Avenger can be proc constantly using the combat discipline trick, but it would require you to alter your build again and add Gloom into the mix to get that lifesteal and maintain your health while you have the combat discipline aura. And while Gloom and Peacemaker can be maintained with high duration and arcane energized, still you will be very limited in playing Mesa in real mission. All that micromanaging will make Mesa super irritating to play with, and instead of enjoying the aimbot mechanic, you will just focus on achieving that red crit while maintaining other things such as your health and energy. I am still infusing red crit Archon shards for the critical chance buff on the secondary because it massively boosts the overall damage of my Mesa, but I don't intend to push it to red crit levels while playing solo. In a team composition, however, it would be a different story, as there are critical buffs such as Harrow's Covenant or Ash Smoke Shadow that will provide you with critical chance buff without relying on the Adderzalkovit. That would make sense for a red crit build, but for solo plays, I highly suggest you step away from any red crit setup, as it's annoying to use in real missions. If you really want a red crit build, then you can still do that with Mesa's first ability augment called Ballistic Bullseye. However, Mesa will not be an aimbot anymore, but now a red crit nuking wrecking machine. Ballistic Bullseye is a Warframe augment mod for Mesa that gives shots enhanced by ballistic battery increased critical chance. With this mod, you don't only have increased damage, but also an additive critical chance bonus to your weapons. The augment needs to charge, so first, you will activate the ability, and once it's on 100%, you then press the ability again to trigger the critical chance and damage buffs. It would be dope if it works with Mesa's Peacemaker, but it doesn't. The Ballistic Bullseye augment does work well with nuke weapons, and it is super powerful with the Cedo. The alternate fire of the Cedo allows the augment to build up stack fast, and the second cast will be devastating that it allows the Cedo's alternate fire to deal massive critical damage to enemies hit by it. In most cases, I pair it with the Gloom ability to put the combat discipline and arcane Avenger trick for those red crit numbers. Then I mod my Mesa with tons of power strength plus Molt augmented to complete the red crit nuke build for this combo. So that's all about it. I hope you enjoy this video and find it informative. Now, I have seen a lot of video requests for guides like this with their favorite Warframe, and I want to apologize if I can't publish it as fast as possible. Videos like this requires a lot of effort editing that it would consume a day just to reevaluate everything I have done for a specific Warframe, show you my past builds, the pros and cons, and then show the final updated builds. Rest assured that all the builds you see on these videos are great in real missions and not just for the simulacrum. It may take a while before I can publish your favorite Warframe, but I promise that every Warframe will have an updated build and I will add it to the playlist. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in my next video. Squad leader signing off.
This is the future. Evolution. This is the future.